February 8th, 1964, there were no bands in America. February 9th, the Beatles played Ed Sullivan. February 10th, everybody had a band in their garage. Everybody. It was not a legitimate art form, really, in anybody's mind yet. It was still one step above being a criminal, you know, or a drug addict. In fact, I think my parents would have preferred me to be a criminal. At least it was a living. The Beatles came, followed a month later by the Dave Clark Five and the Animals and the Stones and the Kinks and the Who and the Yardbirds and what we called the British Invasion. Suddenly we all became lovers of British music and everything having to do with England. We were trying to copy what they were doing, and to do that we had to go back to the roots of those guys, which was, you know, Little Richard, Jerry Lee Lewis, and all those 50s guys. By the time we were 15, we were like, Howlin' Wolf, the coolest dude in the world, you know? Why? Because the Rolling Stones introduced us to him, you know? So we started to discover our own American music through these British bands. Chuck Berry made the boring teenage years into this wonderful poetic adventure. And he was probably the greatest lyricist of all time in terms of creating the infrastructure and the form that would be copied by even Bob Dylan. So a new art form was born, I believe, the summer of '65. Dylan, the Beatles, the Stones, and the Byrds, creating what would be called the art form of rock. My radio format is centered in that period because it is the greatest music ever made, as far as I'm concerned. We also play all of the roots back to 1951. And all the way up to today. Like, we'll play the Rolling Stones cover of Larry Williams' She Said Yeah, but then we'll play Larry Williams' version of She Said Yeah. The basic idea is keep the river flowing, you know? I look at rock and roll as a lifeblood, as an essential sort of sacred water that you bathe in, and I can see it looking back as far as the eye can see. And I want to look forward and be able to see it. So if you're a fourth or fifth or sixth generation rocker, and you're only going back as far as the 90s or the 80s, you don't qualify for my playlist. If you want to be great, then compare yourself to something that's great. And what'll come from you, what'll emerge from you, is your own identity. That's exactly what the British Invasion was. It's white kids trying to sound black. Okay, and failing gloriously. And you will hear some of this music on display in all of its glory in my TV show called Lilyhammer on Netflix. You can subscribe and watch it over and over. It's great.